Welcome back to We Needed Roads, the podcast where we watch things so you don't have to. Or in some cases, you should absolutely watch the things we tell you to. And this week, we may have traumatized our parents. We're diving headfirst into our full spoiler special of The Artful Dodger Season 2, a show that somehow manages to be charming, filthy, romantic, and absolutely feral with its surgery scenes. And for reasons we can't fully explain, we both watched this season with our parents. Just why? Why did that seem like a good idea? Yeah, I have also abandoned all sense of dignity and I have fallen head over heels in love with Fanny. Yes, rampant criminality, Fanny. And I will be defending her choices like a man who's already written his wedding vows. And Marie, well, I think you spent most of this season experiencing can what only be described as Victorian era medical PTSD, repeatedly diving behind the sofa every time someone picked up a scalpel, like it was about to become a full on episode of Saw 1860s. So expect spoilers, chaos, uncomfortable family viewing decisions, and at least one of us questioning why did we think this was a nice show to watch with our parents. This is Artful Dodger Season 2. Before we get into the good, the bad, and the what the fuck, Marie, your general thoughts on Season 2 of The Artful Dodger?
You know, it's a bit sad that it's just the two of us, like, because I do feel like it's, like, you and I are the only ones who watch the show. But you know what? I bet you in, like, 2 or 3 years, David is gonna do what he did with Shrinking, where he's just gonna go, oh, this show is so good, why did no one tell me? Like, I feel like that's gonna happen,
Yeah.
because this is just such an underrated gem of a show, and I think you and I were both really surprised that it got a season 2, because we both enjoyed season 1, but again it felt like we were the only two people watching it, and we also watched it at separate times, which was really funny, where I think I watched it at the end, like a few months before you did, and then you mentioned it and I'm like, yes, it's a good show.
And then I watched it twice because I watched it by myself, binge watched it whole, and I was like, do you know what? My parents are going to like this show. And then we watched it become a Saturday night watch an episode with my parents thing as well.
I did the same. I did. I watched season 1 and then I recommended it to my dad, and he really enjoyed it. And then season 2 just happened to come out while he was here visiting me. The only downside is my dad could not recall season 1 at all, so I had to do pause every a few minutes and explain things and to him. And when he went back home, he actually rewatched season 1 and rewatched season 2 again, and he was just like, "Yeah, I don't recall season 1 at all. Like, did I watch this?" And I'm like, yes, you did. You remember? I remember you telling me that you really enjoyed it.
For me, I mean, this was a show that was never supposed to get a second season. Like, it felt like a one and done. Like, the end of season one, it was complete. They'd flipped it around. Yeah, Jack had saved Belle. Fagin had got away with it. And then when they ended up in prison, you were just kind of like, oh, okay, it's a nice role reversal of the start of the season. And then there's a little throwaway line where he's like, well, they let Fagin out, and he's like, well, you'll have to be my manservant then, won't you? And that is what they took as a jumping off point for the next series. So I want to say I enjoyed this so much more than the first series. Well done to all the writers who came up with a way to really successfully, one, bring back these characters, two, introduce compelling new characters, and then expand the more minor characters from season one as well. It was just, I was like, yes. So now let's get into the good, the bad, and the what the fuck of season two of The Artful Dodger. Yeah, so my first good is the quality and the writing of the performance, which meant outside of our core three of Dodge, Bell, and Fagan, the rest of the cast really got to shine as well. Characters from like season one, like Rotti, Aputi, and Flash, and Hetty, they all got much more character development this season, which was great. Let's talk Mother Fox. Susie Porter played just deliciously evil. Who, obviously barred a serial killer who we'll get into later. But she is the main villain of the season for most of the season. She is the obstacle they have put in the place of Dodge and Bell getting together with the threat of death over him if they sing together. And then, of course, when we get Deering Uncle Dickie turn up, my parents immediately clocked it. Says like, oh yeah, they had a relationship before, and my mum even predicted Belle would not be the governor's daughter that early on. But then again, once somehow she gets cholera, we get a complete 180 as a secret about Belle's father comes out and how she and the governor forgive Jack. I mean, come on. At this point, he's saved their daughter, he's saved his wife, most of the colony. So hanging him would kind of seem like a dick move at that point. She was so good. And again, she was there in season one as like a minor antagonist. But here, for most of the season, she is your main villain.
Yeah, keeping the like the main obstacle, keeping them apart, because like I was wondering
They had to
where
do it somehow, didn't they?
somehow I really hope they were not going to keep doing it. I mean, it shows, I think, to the credit of this show, that I think they thought the love story would draw everyone in. It is the least interesting thing about this show.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, for a straight love story, it's decent. They're cute, but it's just, I think they kind of did sideline it this season, and it was such a good decision because everything else was just so much more better.
Again, where I mentioned the expansion of the characters from season one, and like, yes, to Sneed. Like, again, season one, he's a bit of a dick, but he's not a complete dick. And he realizes Belle's value. And, like, even though he goes against her, like, and it shows you he is his own man. So he'll go with what he believes, whether it's what our heroes want or isn't what they want. So that scene when he goes up against Belle's mother, it's a great moment again. And yeah, like you say, such great shades of grey, making a good side character, making him a really good, morally complex character, and a really great side character, rather than a predictable one-note villain. And
Yeah.
like I said, even when he goes against Belle and Jack at the end with the whole cholera thing, he thinks he's doing it for his patients. And also with Sneed, we'll get into it later, cliffhanger for potentially the next season as well.
Yeah, I mean, you could see like where he was coming from, because he was just like, "Oh, the research suggests this," and of course, we as the audience. I mean, I don't know how much you know about cholera, Neil. This is surprisingly one of the rabbit holes that I did go down on.
Right.
So I
Okay.
know surprisingly a lot about cholera, and how it spreads and everything like that. So obviously, I always know it's like it's in the water, it's the water spout. The way that they like introduce like blood transfusions and like stuff like that, I think that's very quickly. But the cholera thing, like it was actually like quite, I think it wasn't on an island colony in Australia. I think it wasn't on a prison colony in Australia. I think it was like London, but they did exactly that, where they like saw where people got their water from, and that's how they figured out that like cholera is spread through the bacteria of water. Sorry, that's a tangent. Anyway, but him like he did like make the decision like
Based on what he thought was
based on what it
best.
was, so like you couldn't really fault him on it. And yeah, and the fact that he does let Belle practice in the hospital, even though she's a woman, like he sees her value, that like she is like a very smart girl.
And for me, one of the single greatest on-screen performances in the whole show is David Thewlis as Fagin. I mean, look, Thewlis is always superb in whatever he is in, but he gets to be a scumbag. His Fagin is a scumbag who uses people. He's a rampant swindler and criminal. And yet he is so magnetic on screen, you can't help but root for him because he's so fun at being a dick. I mean, the whole saltpeter incident with him and Fanny had me in stitches.
He is honestly having the time of his life, and I mean, it's just he's just having the time of his life being bad, and but also he gets just like such good lines. I mean, my favorite one Fagin moment is the one with the plant, and then where when he tries to out the con artist, and then afterwards he's like in the hospital, and he was like telling Dodger, "I got struck down by a monstrous thicket." And it's just the way he like delivers that line, it's just so funny.
His
I mean,
enunciation is
it's
just,
the enunciation, exactly, like
yeah,
the pronunciation. It's also why, like, from season one, I cannot hear the word lettuce without like
the wet
laugh at the
lettuce.
wet lettuce. It's just, and I think that like it just like bodes well. Like the writing of this show, it's just so funny, and there's like
Mm.
so many like great lines, and he delivers them so great, and with like such like yeah, just like the pronunciation. He's just having the time of his life. I think this is like his dream role.
I really liked the introduction of Luke Brace's detective boxer as well. That was so well done. Again, when you first see him, you're like, great, here we go. He's going to be a rival for Bell against Dodge, and he's going to also be determined to prove Dodge and Fagan's criminality. he is our new Gaines for season 2, you know. But no, that's not what we got. Instead, we got such a well-written, nuanced character where he's a fair man. He's dedicated to upholding the law. He will not be cowed or influenced. Again, he has a limp and a tragic backstory. And his connection with Belle feels so real. He obviously he finds her attractive in that way. He wants to protect her from the slums, echoing how he lost his own wife in a riot. And again, the scene where he stands up to Lady Jane as well is another all-timer. And like I said, how he could have so easily been brought in as that major obstacle for Jack and Belle, but he isn't. He makes his feelings for Belle obvious, she doesn't share them, and he moves on like an adult. And then we see him even risking infection in the Devil's Elbow. Oh, and also, let's not forget, any other show, this would be the main plot line. There is a serial killer going around and killing people and removing their organs in Devil's Elbow that he has to solve. Firstly, he thinks it's Belle, and then, oh, Dodge. Oh, no, shit. It's the prof. I did not see that coming. I mean, obviously, probably should have, but I didn't see it coming. I was like, when it happened. I mean, I actually wonder whether the prof reveal should have been held off for one more episode, because when he says about the cholera epidemic wiping out the poor people in Devil's Elbow, he seems really in favor of it. And I even thought at one point he might have been responsible for that. Of course, you know, like he would have done something to the water to do it himself, but it was just an accident by them with the sewers flooding. But again, I was just like, yeah, I mean, Luke, like Boxer, what a character, right?
Yeah, I agree with you. Like when you first introduced, I was just like, oh, here we go, like the new like inspector who's just gonna like chase down the wrong leads. But no, yeah, he was just like a genuine bloke who just wanted to help people, and it came from such like, again, he was just working off the information that he was given. I think he did target Dodger a bit too much, just because also like the way like the organs were removed and the stitches, I think that was a bit too like Dodger is more like his stitches are more tidy and stuff like that. Like he's like a way better surgeon than Prof. So I think he zeroed in. But after that, yeah, he was just I you know how I feel about love triangles, and I was just like, and I wouldn't call this a love triangle. I genuinely did. I mean, I think they did lean a bit too much into the like the miscommunication angle.
That which will come up in the
Yeah,
bad.
but in general, yeah. Again, he was just such a nice new character. My dad had to go. I don't remember him from season 1, and I had to remind him he was not in season 1. Yeah, he's a brand new character, so you don't know anything about him. My dad kept asking questions about him. I'm like, I don't know. Maybe we'll find out. Let's just see. The downside of watching this with your parents.
I knew my dad was into it because whenever I'd look over, he'd be awake. So that was the good sign, you know.
So, same with my dad, and it's just like as soon as an episode finished, even though like his bedtime is like 9 o'clock for my dad, it was like 10 o'clock, and he's like, "Oh, another episode." I'm like, "Yeah, sure, why not?"
My dad goes to bed later than that. I go to bed before my dad some of the days. Also, I think Maya Mitchell, man, I like, again, in a role that could be so obvious on paper. You know, oh, it's the stubborn girl who's like in love with the criminal surgeon, but they're being, and she wants to be, you know, it could seem so by the numbers in the wrong actress's performance, I think. You know, she gets just the right blend of stubbornness without being annoying. And like you say, the love story with Jack is weighted nicely. It's not really the key focus of the show, which is great because once you expand those other characters, they're much more interesting. Well, let's move on to the bad. And look, we know they have to find a reason to keep Belle and Dodger apart. And yeah, for most of the season, it's the mum, and they have to stay apart or he'll be hung. And it was kind of a really flimsy excuse in the first place because within an episode or two, they're letting her work at the hospital where she's obviously going to run into him. Oh, what? You're just going to execute your other doctor because he bumped into her? I mean, they did a lot of bumping actually in the hospital, but on a daily basis. And then, but then what made me laugh is when Belle's mother says, "We'll go and live with him and be poor." She's like, "Cool, fine, see you later." But then they split up a day later. But the reason they split up is nothing to do with that. Because of Fanny's crimes and Todd's not telling her, hello, your own sister didn't tell you she's a criminal, but now you blame your boyfriend more than her, and that's the reason? That was just like, no, that was stupid. It annoyed me a tiny bit, but I was like, look, you have to come up with some bullshit reason. That was it. Fine, let's move on.
Yeah, it did also again trigger my dad going, "Wait, why are they breaking up? I did not understand that." I agree with you, and like, yeah, I was like the entire season. I was like looking, I'm like, they're doing such a terrible job of keeping apart. Like every episode they're together. Yeah, the whole like you need to stay apart, but you work at the same hospital. Yeah, I mean, what do you think was gonna happen? I really hope, like, if we're getting a season 3, that they're just now together and solid. As we said, like, the love story is the least interesting part of this, like, show. I mean, I don't want it to go away completely, but I think they can be now just together and working together. I think that's what makes them like an interesting couple, like the fact that, like, they complement each other, not even just, oh, these are two very attractive people, but no, but like, because he has the skills with, like, the medicine, but she has, like, the brains to, like, figure things out, and they, like, teach each other, and like that is a very good relationship. So I do hope, like, in future seasons they will just be together.
I mean, I wondered as well. You mentioned we briefly earlier that the misunderstood glance with Boxer in Devil's Elbow in the finale, and he's like, and I was like, that is
Yeah.
such a shit reason. Like, especially when she's telling him, okay, yeah, you're a great guy, but I'm not interested. And he's like, yeah, we clearly see that, not a problem. And but it's at that point, Jack's like, oh, I'm going to be a dick and decide to run away to the Navy again. And I was like, no, that's the stupidest reason ever. But I wondered if they were going to follow through with it and then cliffhanger it for the next season.
Yeah.
But that kind of ties in actually to what you just said, where like, no, if there isn't another season of the show, they're just together and it's fine. Because when it all happens, they do that bit and the ship's sailing away and he stood there in the background. I was like, oh great. So we can kind of X that one off now. We don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, this was one of those things that this could have been solved with just communicating. Like, and there was even that moment in the hospital where he was just, like, talking to the mom and, like, going, "Oh, I think your daughter has moved on now," and then Fanny has that look, and I'm like, I thought Fanny immediately was gonna say, "Oh, she turned Boxer down," well, like, she turned him down, like, no, but she didn't say anything, so I was just like, "No, don't drag this
Fanny was
out."
too busy planning schemes.
Yeah, but I was just like, this could have been like this, like, one conversation, and this whole thing could have been resolved.
I'm also glad that they did it quickly and it didn't hang around too long. It's like, oh, stupid reason. Oh no, wait, it's over with. Don't worry about it. Oh, and everything's fine again with them two. So great. It didn't overstay its welcome.
Okay, so this is just a minor bad, but the hoop skirts. So let me give you a little fashion history for you, Neil. Basically, like,
Yay.
basically back in those days, you would have, like, layers and layers of petticoats, and that will give you this big hoop skirt. And in costuming, to cut things on budget, you just have, like, this underskirt, which is just like this hoop, and that's kind of like, it's very obvious they just use that. Like, you can't see, like, the layers and layers of fabric, and it just kind of annoyed me, the way that, like, the way the characters walk. You could just, like, it just wasn't like, the hoop skirt just bothered me. I know this is just, you wouldn't have picked up on this at all. This is just, like, a minor nitpick from my, like, costuming mind, where I was just like, oh no. You can tell that it's just two layers, not multiple layers in petticoats. But yeah, that was, like, just one of my little bads.
That was on no one's bingo card for this episode for the bad. I'll tell you that much. Well, now this brings us on to the what the fuck. And this show has one of the greatest what the fuck moments of the year. I think we'll be hard pressed to find a moment that we so misjudged in any show going forward this year. And this has to be our look at Fanny's Nook, Pottery Nook, for a sweetly tender scene where she and her prospective beau Phineas are about to kiss for the first time. Until he accidentally gets caught in the pottery machine as he leans in to kiss her and gets his neck broken. I actually didn't. Well, I mean, first of all, I thought the twist in this relationship was going to be that because he was so effeminate and pretty, she'd fall in love with him and it would be revealed he was gay. I was like, that's totally where it's going. Phineas is going to be gay, and then she's going to be like, what the hell? And then when I saw that happen, I was just like, I messaged you immediately. I was like, he's fucking dead. And then so starts Fanny's spiral into a life of crime.
I mean, I think we stopped doing these because we get them so wrong. But, like, we did predictions for this show in season 1, and I don't think this was in any of our lists. Like, we just did not. Because, like, in season 1, like, you liked her more than I did. I thought she was a little bit annoying in season 1, but I know she was already, like, a favorite character of yours. And this one, and in season 1, she's, like, looking for a husband. That's, like, her entire goal, like
Personality.
personality. Exactly. She is the dumb sister, like to the smart sister, and all she wants is like a husband, a comfortable life. And then when this start hit, I mean, I was just waiting for you to get to the scene because you just showed me you just sent me the picture of them in the pottery room,
Yeah.
and I was just like, oh, just you wait, just you wait. And because we had no idea, and it was like so hard for me not to spoil it for you. I mean, I like did like tips where I was just like, you're not ready.
Yeah.
You're not ready. We did not predict this. And yeah, it kind of like me sending you messages about Fanny at like 1 a.m. and you being very confused.
I remember seeing one, and I was like, I'm not answering that till I'm awake and know what the hell you're going on about.
And it was set up so good as well because in the previous episode you see her pottery, which is all just vaginas, and it's just like I still remember like sending you a summary going vagina pottery in episode 1, and that's all I'm saying. And I thought that was going to be the pottery joke, that all her pottery is just slightly pornographic, but no, it turns out it's the instrument to a murder and the life
Death.
of crime. And I thought at first Fagin was only messing with her. Like, I thought he wasn't actually dead. I thought Fagin was just messing with her. And then I was just like, oh no, she actually did kill him.
Have you seen the little behind the scenes clip on Instagram of them doing that scene and the outtakes from it? It's hilarious. It's I will send you it. It's so funny because it's just him going face down into it and her like not being close enough, so having to reset and do things like that. But yeah, I mean, props for Lucy Rose Leonard, who plays Fanny, because like you say, season 1 she was an amusing side character to Belle's central protagonist. You know, and I thought her constant unlucky in love storyline was really funny. But here in season 2, with not much more screen time, not a lot more, but again, after her accidental murder of Phineas, is immediately blackmailed by Fagin, who disappears poor Phineas, and then Fanny joins a gang to do crime. Just when she walks into the bar, oh, I'd like to do some crime. I was like, yes. I mean, Fanny and Belle killed people accidentally in consecutive episodes. These sisters will murder you. They will kill you.
Also, but the reaction is just so different. Like, Belle is absolutely distraught and cannot like deal with the grief, and Fanny is just like, she like bounces back from it like a champ, and she's like, "Yep,
Immediately, she's just like,
I'm part
okay,
of a life of crime." But it's like it's still written so well. Her joining the gang, because like, I mean, I think the best relationship in this show is Fanny and Fagin. Like
Fanny and Fagin.
the friendship these two start up, and I think Fagin is quite fond of her. He's just like playing it down. But that duo, like, that's better than Dodger and Fagin. Like
Oh yeah,
they two work so well. But
he's
you
like
also,
the proud father, isn't he?
yeah, he is. But also, like, she herself, like, I think she says because she was never good at anything in her life, and everyone treated her stupid, and then suddenly Fagin is like treating her like an actual person. And even though he like blackmailed her at the start, he was just like, "Oh no, but your penmanship is so good, and you would do such a good job if you did this, and if you did this." Like, he's generally complimenting her, and because she's never been complimented in her life, she's like, "Oh, yay, this is my future now."
I mean, some of her best lines, I was noting them down as I was going. The first time she says rampant criminality while smoking a pipe, brilliant. When Belle says about her being a murderer, she goes, "It was one person, one time." That had us all laughing out. And I'll rent us a hotel or buy one. I'm not sure how that works. And then when she comes into the bar and everyone's pointing guns at each other, she's like, "Oh, are we having a standoff?" And then she goes and parks herself at the bar just to watch it. I mean, I was just like, it was not without a hint of fear about the scene. She's like, "Oh, this is cool. I want to watch this." I mean, yeah, I love Fanny. She was so good.
I mean, I think this is a medical show, but with criminal hijinks, and I think that what makes the show so funny. The whole platinum stealing scene with the baguettes, that was just so funny. Again, like just like Fagin doing like a terrible accent, and then like her like hiding everything under the skirt, and there's just this whole sequence, and then it just being lost in the sewers afterwards, and you're like, what was the point?
Well, and there's that line later on when he's like, they're down there in the finale, and he's like, "There's a bar of platinum around here somewhere."
I do hope that hints that it will come back at one point, because that was a lot of effort for a plot point that literally went down the drain. But yeah,
I'm assuming we had the same what the fuck moment, right? Because
yeah, it was
yeah,
Fanny. It,
that
like
was it,
it just
the redemption of Fanny.
it was like, I mean, we didn't predict her, like, just her life of crime. Like, that was, we, yeah, did not see this coming. Like, if you asked me, like, what would have happened in season 2, I wouldn't have predicted this.
We've kind of gone through our thing, but there's still a few things I want to talk about because I was making so many notes when I was watching the finale, and I think it was episode 7 and 8 when we did double bill the other weekend. And again, music. I love using the modern music and thing, and most of the bands are Australian as well. I was really annoyed I didn't hear the Chats in it. The Chats are one of the greatest Aussie punk bands of all time at the minute, and I was like, but come on, ACDC, TNT, it's perfect, perfectly written for that scene. And I just how good is Fanny at setting up the fake factory as well?
They also put, like, so much heart into it, like, both him, her, and Fagin. I think that's why they, like, work so well. In a way, they genuinely care.
Well, and how Fanny starts trying to tell Fagan to be nicer to the people he's working with. And that was so good as well, wasn't it? Mr. Flashford Bang.
I love that so much. Yeah. And like where he's like, then he actually listens to her. Like, that's another thing why I love about their relationship, because like Fagin will never listen to Dodger. Like, he just ignores him and tunes him out. He actually listens to Fanny and takes on her suggestions. Like, it's such a like weird paternal
Yeah.
relationship.
I am your crime father.
Yes.
But I mean, and again, in that one scene that really got us all was when they go through Devil's Ab and they find the little girl with the dead family. That was like, whoa, because you gone from all the fun stuff, and then like in that scene with her and Belle, I was like, oh no, shit! Again, you're so good in that. Like, yeah, it was like that was like the cutting onion scene there. And it's like, okay, of course she's going to take the little girl out of her there.
Yeah.
I've got Uncle the Kid's your father, but again, a great moment because Belle's dad has been a giant wuss the whole season. He spent the most of the season drunk with Dickie and not realizing that, oh yeah, his wife has been running everything. And again, that relationship wasn't as fleshed out in the first series. He was a bit more, he seemed a bit more on top of it in season 1. Yes, to him finally not being rubbish. And the fact that he'd known for years, they didn't even have to say that he goes, that Belle wasn't his daughter, but he's like, no, but you are my daughter. And I was like, and yeah, like we mentioned earlier, the redemption of Lady Jane, but how everything Belle said to her was right. But here's one question: is a minor, if she's rich and in the nice part of town, where did she drink the poison water from? I never got that. How did she get cholera?
I don't get that either. Like,
Good, so it wasn't just me.
no, I did think that too, because maybe because like she inspected the fact that the sewers were flowing the wrong way, because I like that's the whole thing. They just pulled the valve and then the sewer started flowing the wrong way. In a way, it's her, well, not her fault, but she was just like, oh, you take care of it then, see how easy it is
Yeah.
running the colony. But yeah, no, I thought of that too, where like, why would she drink from that particular fountain? That's
Oh, was it from a fountain then?
yeah.
Okay, that's what you got. I didn't even catch that. I was just like, where did she get it from? I was like,
No, because that's the thing, that like, because like half the elbow was drinking from like rainwater and the other half was drinking from the fountain, and the fountain was the one that was contaminated by like feces by the sewers that were
and the people in the pub who were fine.
yeah, because they were just drinking beer. That's how they figured things out.
Also, as we mentioned him earlier as well, Sneed. But honestly, I would be pissed if I was Sneed and I live, because Bell and Jack have run off and Prof is dead or unconscious or free to kill again. We don't know, because
Yeah.
that seemed really truncated, that end scene. But there is no doctor at the hospital to save the head doctor, Sneed, who literally just said, I think even not that episode, the one before to Jack when he ran off earlier, you need to stay here. We need you here. He's like, no, I'm going to go off and because Bell and then Bell and I was like, yeah, I would be legitimately annoyed if I was Sneed here.
Well, you do actually kind of feel sorry for him in the season, because he's generally trying to keep the hospital afloat. He's the only one doing everything and everything. And like, yeah, Bell and a Dodger, especially Dodger, he barely does any operations this season. He's just running off with Fagin and doing his adventures and trying to get the money for his bail.
Because
So
crime is more fun.
I haven't spoken much to Dodger's character, but like, he is a like he chases that high. Like he likes like being
Yeah,
on the
that's been
wrong side of
explored
the
a little
law.
bit, hasn't it?
It's been explored a little bit in the conflict with him and Belle, and the fact that Belle was so shocked about it, I thought was like
Yeah.
uh,
We need to get from A to B with ease, and that's the quickest way. But I mean, when we mentioned how much we enjoy Fulis as Fagin, he is still a massive coward. And because the scene where his friends are taken captive, he just runs off. And
yeah.
so we always have to remember, despite how great he is, Fagin is always out for himself first. So you never know whether he's going to fuck someone over in the future going forward. I mean, and that brings us on to cliffhangers for season 3. Or as we mentioned, I honestly thought the first time, oh, they've pulled a cliffhanger, Jack's gone to sea because of one stupid glance. And as much as I hated that idea, it would have worked as a good cliffhanger. But I think you'd probably had to jump forward a year or two, and then Jack would have to return for reasons. And then you could have had Bell and Boxer together, and then they could have gone closer over time. And I was like, okay, I could see where it could have gone. But no, just kidding. Here's Jack, and he couldn't leave, and happily ever after, hopefully, for the two of them. But then we have the episode's true cliffhanger, which is Fagin's medical gambit, where he asks Jack to make it look like he's dead, and he wakes up in a coffin 6 feet under. So how's he going to get out of that one then?
I do not know. I mean, that was like a very funny thing. I think like eventually Jack is gonna go back to the hospital, go where's Fagin, and then
Yeah,
and they go, oh, we buried him, and he's like, he wasn't actually dead.
I reckon that will be the pre-credits bit of the episode, and it'll all be literally. It's not a cliffhanger in a truest sense. Like if we get the third series, what's going to happen is it'll be like them getting back and going. He'll have to try and save. He'll save Sneed first, and then after that, they're all relaxing. He's like, "Where's Fagin?" And like you say, "Oh, he's dead. We buried him." He's like, "No, how long has he been there?" And then they'll dig up Fagin, who'll be gasping for air. He'll say something really witty and funny. Intro title, cue the music. We're on to season 3. It won't be anything longer than that, I don't think.
Yeah, or he buries, or he digs himself out. This is again one of the weird things that I know. I actually do know what you should do if you get buried alive. If you want to know.
I mean, I was just gonna do the short palm punch that Uma Thurman does in.
Yeah, but actually, no, that's the wrong way because then all the earth will just fall on top of you. So
Well, I
what
was
you
expecting
actually
it.
you need to do is you need to punch downwards below you and then create a small hole, and then
Ah.
actually even pee yourself so the soil gets wet so you can part it more. And then when you punch upwards, all the soil can fall down into the hole that you already created instead of burying you alive in the coffin, so you can actually dig yourself out.
And this has been Marie's "How to Get Out of If You've Been Buried Alive" section of the podcast,
Can you
which
tell I've got insomnia?
I, I would say I'm glad I know that, but also very worried, very very worried. So let's talk season 3 a bit. It's not officially confirmed, but viewing figures apparently have been much higher than season 1, and David Fulis has said he's very hopeful of season 3. And why not? All the cast look like they're having the time of their lives on the show. They've already expanded the show so much from what it was in season 1. I absolutely watch more and more seasons of this show. Like you said, I don't think we need to throw obstacles at Jack and Belle's relationship, but there needs to be obstacles for them. So, like they've hinted at, the obstacles for them can be now everyone respecting Jack and taking him seriously, and him being a hero, and maybe him struggling with that a little bit could be a way to go. Belle learning to be a doctor professionally, maybe her going to school, maybe give her a rival. That would be cool. If you like, everyone's expecting Belle to be like the first big woman surgeon, then someone else comes in and is really good at it. There could be kind of a nice little thing there. And of course, what I really want the show to be is Fanny's life of crime and accidental murder sprees. That line where she says, I forgot this one, I killed Phineas and I can kill again. When she's threatening, what's his name? Is it Tim Minchin? I was like, that's so good. I mean, she's got a taste for it now, Marie. She will kill again.
Sorry, we completely forgot to mention the horse fetish.
The horse fetish?
Yeah, that Dimension's character has. That like remember like he opens the vault and
Oh,
it's
the little
him as him
yeah.
as the horse, and then there's horse costumes and everything like that. That gag was super funny. And that's why Fagin does like clopping noises around him. That's just again like the writing
Wasn't a
is
joke
so
about him being a
funny.
little horse?
Yeah.
What's going to be the next big bad for the season? Like, we had the relationship and the mum trying to stop him, and then we had the serial killer running around. But it doesn't really need that kind of thing. It just needs more schemes going awry and them getting deeper in it and trying to get out of it. Really, that's what the core of the show is.
Also, like, I wouldn't be opposed to Oliver Twist returning.
The wet lettuce.
The wet lettuce.
I mean, I was wondering, like, just because they're probably the only few characters left to show, what if you did a Fanny and Boxer storyline where, like, Fanny goes on a proper crime spree and Boxer's trying to stop it, and neither of them realise it's the other one doing it? Or, like, because she's so clever at crime, but dense at everything else, that I could absolutely, and it could be played for laughs, and it could be really funny. But again, just because I can't see any other pairings of the characters that are there, it would be perfectly funny to, like, I mean, just because there's no other characters on the board for this series. What I briefly want to talk about there, I briefly want to talk about actually a couple of the actors in the show. It's like Maya Mitchell, she is so good in the show. She really gives me early Keira Knightley vibes, but better. And she's not really done a lot though. I was looking, and she'd watched. I think there was one show that you'd watched that you said called The Fosters. I'd never heard of.
Yeah, I mean, no, she was a childhood actor. She was on there like most of her childhood, and then because it ran long, it was like 6 seasons long. I tuned out around season 5, I think. I have to admit, her character does get rather annoying halfway through, and the majority of the conflict of this show is that she wants to fuck her stepbrother, which I mean,
Yeah, I'm not watching that show.
they're not related. Like it's called The Fosters, but because they're called The Fosters, but it's about fostering. And
Oh.
she's a troubled teen that gets adopted by this foster family, which are 2 women, so yay for gay. Yeah, and then she like strikes up a relationship with their son, and just because then she becomes their adoptive daughter, she can't technically be with the son. But that was kind of like the main
And they
conflict.
dragged it out for 5 seasons.
No, thankfully they did drop it around like season 3 or 4, but they do hint at it a few times. But then they spun off this show, and they did a show called Good Trouble, which I didn't see because it looked absolutely awful. Which it was her character and her like adoptive sister moving and trying to make it in the big world as adults.
This is no comment on your describing of those shows, but I have absolutely no interest in seeing either of them.
I don't think you would enjoy them. I mean, I don't know what drew me to The Fosters. I think it was yay because the
Teen drama, gay mums.
exactly. I mean, that does kind of sound like my bread and butter.
I mean, she's done a few low budget rom coms and horrors, but nothing of note really. Like her last film role was in the critically panned horror film Until Dawn that came out last year, based on a video game. I didn't even know she was in that, and I think I watched the first 10, 15 minutes. I was looking at the IMDb, and like on her slate, she's got another seemingly low budget rom com and a short film. I was like, why is she not bigger? I don't get it. She's got all the tools. She's got the Australian gene where she's pushing 30 and looks like she could pass for early 20s still.
I to be honest, I think that was down to a lot of contracting. Like she was like locked in for The Fosters, and that was old school television, like 22 episodes a
Oh,
season.
Jesus.
Yeah, exactly. And then like Good Trouble, she did leave it halfway through the second season, I think, where she
Because of
left.
Bad Trouble?
No, and I think like they did say, like, I think it was because
It was
she
just
missed
bad and no one was watching it.
no, well, no, she said because she missed her family because she was Australian, and
I did hear she moved back a couple of times, and obviously there was flooding near where she lived as well, so she moved back when that happened as well.
yeah, and also because of COVID, like because she was isolated from her family during COVID because she was shooting Good Trouble and she couldn't go back to Australia. So, but then she kept going back to Good Trouble. They did like this massive send off, and then she was like a guest star in the next few episodes. So I was like, but I think it was just
Marie?
because.
Let's talk Fanny. Now, I will recuse myself from making any massive Fanny jokes here, but again, why is Lucy Rose Leonard not more in stuff? So, like, 99% of all Australian actors, it's like a birthright. You have to be in Home and Away or Neighbours. For her, it was Neighbours back in 2015. So that was 11 years ago. And in fact, the only other film, I've actually seen a film she was in, and I didn't know she was in it. And that film was Nitram, which was about the mass shooting in Tasmania, where she was woman outside a bar.
Great credit.
It gets better. That was followed with 2024's Sleeping Dogs, where she played the unforgettable random woman in the credits. Now, to be fair, I think she does do a fair bit of theatre work, especially in the UK as well. But again, she's one of the highlights of the show for me. And again, I can't believe that, like, as the kids say, She ate with every opportunity she was given, and she killed with her line deliveries. Don't say
No.
that. Laurie's
No,
like,
no, no,
don't
no,
ever
no,
say
no,
that.
no, no, no. That just felt wrong, Neil. That just don't try it. You need
It's
to put
done
the
and it's
"Hello,
done.
fellow kids" meme here. No, you need to keep that in, but just.
Put my Buscemi up. Right. Well, I believe that is all the time we have on this week's episode of the We Needy Roads podcast. Marie, where can people see you performing environmental brain surgery online?
You can find me under the handle Life on Mars. That is TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. I also recently just started fostering, so you will find cute dog photos on there. That's predominantly been my feed for the past 2 weeks since I got her. So, yeah, foster. Ironically, since we were talking about the fosters. But yeah, dogs and horrifying facts about the environment.
Nice. A palate cleanser and then something to terrify you, or the other way around. And if you want more We Needy Roads nonsense, you can find us everywhere. We're on Twitter at Needy Roads, Instagram at We Needy Roads, and TikTok at We Needy Roads Podcast. And you can follow me personally at Neil_Gregory78 on Threads. And head over to Threads, people. It's a great, fun film, TV, and echo chamber. I love it over there. We Needy Roads is available on all major podcast platforms. We'd love it if you subscribe to us on YouTube or gave us a follow on Spotify, where you can see the full video episodes as well as hear us. And remember, what happens in a pottery nook stays in a pottery nook.
We Needed Roads.